if you're lactose intolerant, you can't watch this movie because it's got so much cheese.
Sorry, yeah, I gotta go. You guys can do this on your own now.
Nope, end it there. You agree 100%. I'm right.
Hey.
So natural.
I don't know how it works live. Like, we haven't done this before, but
Technically,
welcome.
we're not live.
Technically, we've never done it live.
We're currently recording. We're not live.
Well, we've never recorded in person.
That's true.
This is true.
So welcome, Flix fellas.
You guys are a lot
fans.
prettier in person.
I know.
That's not true.
Welcome to the fans to our first in studio Flix fellas.
Mhm.
I am your host today, Kevin, followed by my lovely friends, more lovelier now, as Joe would say. I got James here.
Hi, Kevin.
And I got Joe.
Hi, Kevin.
There we go. I love the hi, Kevin. It's like that episode of SpongeBob.
Hi, Kevin.
Yep, exactly. Today we talked about I watched it yesterday, the Netflix film Outlaw King. It is a 2018 historical action drama film about Robert the Bruce, the 14th century Scottish king, who launched a guerrilla war against the larger English army. The film largely takes place during the 3-year historical period from 1304, when Bruce decides to rebel against the rule of Edward I over Scotland, thus becoming an outlaw, up to the 1307 Battle of Loudon Hill. Outlaw King was co-written, produced, and directed by David Mackenzie, and stars Chris Pine, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Florence Pugh, Billy Howell, Sam Spruill, Tony Curran, Callan Mulvey, James Cosmo, and Stephen Delane. There were a lot of big actors that I don't really know their names, but I was like, oh, you were in Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
you were in Marvel.
Did you guys think that one girl was also from Game of Thrones and it wasn't her?
His wife?
Who?
No, not his
Like the
wife.
queen?
It was the daughter of
Daughter of the red-haired kid? The red-haired guy?
Marjorie.
yes, Marjorie. No, not the daughter of Chris
Remember
Pine.
when they go to the... Oh, I don't want to... We can't talk about spoilers right now.
It's no spoilers. It's literally the
daughter.
daughter.
The daughter of Chris Pine.
No. The girl who looked just like Ygritte from
Yes,
Game
I
of
know
Thrones.
you're talking about.
It's not her.
No, it's
I
not.
was convinced it was her.
I don't know. Who
It is
you're talking
not.
about.
She also has red hair. That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh,
And she's also a woman. That's true.
That's all the similarities you need.
Check. Okay, yeah. That's good. If it looks like shit and it smells like shit, it's probably shit, right? Oh, wait.
Jesus
That's not what I meant. That's not what I
Show
meant.
is
We
just
start strong.
done.
We start strong.
We had a good run.
I thought Joey came on strong and then Kevin just
I'm sorry. That's not. I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Okay.
if it looks like it and it smells like it, it is it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're happy to be in studio for the first time
hit the table.
ever. I won't hit the table because I don't want
We're gonna keep hearing knock. Remember that one time you held your mic during a
that's
podcast?
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Do we want to go to first reaction?
Yeah, first reactions. Let's start with the host. He's hosting this because we're
Joe's
in his
studio.
house. Joey,
My
first
casa.
reactions.
I was conflicted with this one. My very first reaction was, if you're going to start the movie off with subtitles, one, give me some sort of sound signal to let me know that I should be looking at the screen right now, because I typically will start a movie knowing that there's going to be some beginning credits where I'm not really watching. And then those last minute text messages you're sending, those last minute Instagram scrolls. And I looked up and I saw 2 titles switch over.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, wait, hold on. The movie started already and there's no, the music didn't change. There was no sound difference. There was no, lighting change.
It was
just
silent. Yeah.
It was silent. So I was like, okay, let me just rewind, restart. Then I do it, and I'm a very slow reader.
Dude, I
no.
I know I had a note on this where I was like, I had to pause the movie multiple times because they were fucking liberal.
Yeah,
I think I went
it's
4
not-
times where I restarted because the subtitles went so fast,
Yeah.
and I just was like, what the fuck?
Look,
It
we're
feels so
we're pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, those were moving fast. It was not.
And it
our
wasn't
reading
just
level. They were
little
moving
things.
fast.
It wasn't like King Bruce was born this day. It was like a paragraph.
Yeah, you
and
needed to
then-
know it.
It was
Yeah,
It was
and there was
pertinent
all the
information.
backstory, and then so that was my first reaction was that I was annoyed, but then I was like, oh, you know what? Kind of like this backstory. It's setting it up without having to do too much exposition, and then it's going to throw us right into the drama, the excitement.
There was.
But
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say one last thing. I didn't. it felt very weirdly paced, this whole movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Where I thought
Yeah.
like time just kind of sped up.
Yeah.
And that's been my whole issue with history classes in general, like in school, and why I never like loved social studies, is because one day you're learning about 1500 BC, and then the next day, without any warning, you're in like 500
flying
BC. It's
planes.
like, what happened for
Yeah.
1,000 years?
Yeah.
And that's
We're
what this
dropping a nuke on it.
Yeah, like-
yeah.
that's what this movie felt like, where it was just like boom, 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 like things are happening, like key moments, but there's no real like middle ground of like what day-to-day life was like.
Mhm.
There was no world building.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was another big movie recently that did what you were complaining about, where the movie just kind of like starts, like there's no music
Yeah.
and there's nothing. Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
I don't know a movie, but I agree that is a thing that happens.
Avengers Endgame.
Is it? I
We
know they
saw it in
started.
theaters together. You were there too, weren't you? Didn't you come with us?
No, we
saw
saw-
it. I don't know if I saw it
I
with
think
you
we
guys.
saw
We were in
Infinity
our
War
apartment.
together. We
No.
saw Infinity War together.
No, we didn't. It
We
was
did not?
Endgame in our apartment. That would have been 2018.
Why can't I even think about how
Or
a game
2019.
starts? I feel like it starts sad and slow.
No,
Everybody's
it
already
literally-
dead.
Everybody's already dead. In theaters, we thought it was still the previews because it just cut. It went from the previews to just
Oh.
the scene where Hawkeye is shooting his
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember
arrow.
that. I do
Yeah.
remember
but
that.
it just shows the arrow, and everyone's like, "Is this another?"
No, yeah,
and
it's a
they're like,
super
"Oh
cold.
fuck!"
It's
Like,
a
this is
super
the
cold
movie,
open.
which is
Yeah,
super
super,
jarring. Like
yeah.
you're 100%
Yeah.
right. It's so jarring. You're like, wait, hold on, I'm not ready to watch a movie yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then it just starts.
You just see whatever his name is. Who's the actor that plays Hawkeye?
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, you see Jeremy Renner like walk across the screen, and you're like, "Is Jeremy Renner in a new movie that's coming out?" And you're
Yeah.
like, and he's like
Wait,
in his
this-
backyard as Hawkeye, and you're like, "Oh no, this
Well,
is the movie."
The difference between this though and Endgame is that Endgame was a sequel where there was a big cliffhanger
Yeah.
from Infinity Wars,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and this is just a movie,
yeah,
Right.
this is just a historical.
a
event.
historical
Right.
event.
Yeah, I
Not
agree.
even like events. I feel like it was one
But like
event.
the less interesting part of these historical events, because Braveheart happens literally right before.
I don't know, dude. This was like
What are your first? reactions?
yeah. So I thought this movie. I loved this movie. I really did.
Okay.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I definitely think the pacing was a little strange because
Yeah.
I feel like there was kind of like a pre-climax and then like a pseudo climax at the very end. You know what I mean? I know phrasing, but like
That's what she said.
yeah.
That's
No.
not pre-cum.
Yeah.
That's just cum.
That's an inside joke. So fucking
Still funny even if you're
yeah,
not on the
yeah,
inside.
Yeah. So essentially there's a point at the end of the movie that I thought was very I gotta stop tapping the table. There was a point at the end of the movie. Yeah, I talk with my hands. There was a point at the end of the movie.
James, was there a point at the end?
There
of the
was in
movie?
fact a point at the end of the movie. I thought the action sequence at the very end of the movie felt a little unnatural and fast.
Oh, I
Um,
liked that. I liked
I-
that scene.
I know I liked the scene,
Yeah.
but I feel like it was like it came to fruition very quickly and like with almost no warning.
Yeah, sure.
But we could talk about that later. Not to get into specifics. Overall, really liked the movie. I liked that it was kind of like pseudo historically accurate. I liked kind of the issues and like the hard strung battle that was the entire movie.
Yeah.
But I liked it overall. Really liked it. First reactions.
Oh yeah, I have to
Or
do
Kevin.
first reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it too. It wasn't like the greatest thing I've ever watched, but I didn't think it was bad. But not in the way that I said that for the last movie we watched. What did we watch last? And I literally gave that exact note that it wasn't good, it wasn't bad. Anyway,
It was Sweet Girl.
I was gonna say, why do we
Sweet Girl.
all forget
Yeah.
what movie we just
Yeah.
watched?
because it wasn't good and it wasn't bad. But yeah, this one was like a little better than that. Like I was actually enjoying watching it, and I wasn't like, ugh, like cliche. It was an action movie. It was stylized. Obviously, there's always cliches and stuff, but it wasn't like shoved down your throat kind of cliches. A couple twists caught me off guard because I didn't really know the story of Robert the Bruce. Obviously, everybody knows about William Wallace and
Yeah.
knows that story. We've seen Braveheart, like everybody's seen Braveheart.
Mel Gibson, Braveheart. Yeah.
But you don't kind of see that movie just kind of ends with like William Wallace fails and gets burned at a stake. And
Yeah.
It's just like, that's it. Like, there you go. Here was a great movie that you sat and watched for 3 hours. So now you kind of see some resolve, which is cool. So it's almost like a sequel to Braveheart.
Let me ask you about this though, because you said you didn't. Obviously, yeah, I agree. There's not major cliches. There's no major faults to this movie.
Yeah.
But let me tell you some faults that I found.
Oh boy.
Are they
save
spoilers?
that for the
Not-
spoilers?
No, it's not spoilers. It's more stylistic choices that they made.
Okay.
In the sense that, one, like I already told you, the pacing I thought was weird. And that kind of was like a little hard for me to get into right
Yeah.
off the beginning. And then 2, the outfits, the whole world, like the historical aspect of it, I think, to me, this is a timepiece. It's another timepiece movie. Game of Thrones, even though it's not historically accurate, it did just like a so much better job of like
a timepiece,
getting you involved in that timepiece. The pacing, the outfits, the way they talked. This felt a little bit too much, which maybe that's how they talked. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't discredit them for that.
It
but
wasn't blended.
It felt very forced
Mm-hmm.
and like cheap at the same time. Like the production value didn't seem.
Oh yeah,
great.
that's one of my first notes. It is my first note. Swords look so fake, and it was mainly that first scene.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I am in for a trip. But then it gets a little better later. But I agree, like, obviously it's not a Game of Thrones. It probably had a similar budget to the first season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But obviously the first season of Game of Thrones was much better. But they're also very different, right? Like, Game of Thrones is like a timepiece. It's medieval, right? But it's not like a timepiece.
It's not historically accurate.
Right. They're not trying to
It's fantasy.
It's more
they're
fantasy.
like, okay, let's take like, ooh, I like this style design from this time period and this style design, so let's blend them all together. Whereas this one, it's like 1307 or whatever it is. What did they wear then? And it was like rags in Scotland. Like they wore rags and chainmail. Like so it's like sucks, but like that's what it does.
Yeah, and there's like leathers and stuff like that. And what I will say I really did like is like there's many times in the movie where you'll see like one person roll up with like their bannerman, you know what I mean? And like they don't necessarily all wear the same colors and stuff like that because it would make sense because they're all from different houses. Because like you're basically going around Scotland trying to basically the only people that have like one entire like
well, that's the point. They're not unified now,
yeah,
so
but
they're all like
homogenous armor are the English because they're one huge force. Yeah. Whereas Scotland's like a bunch of houses. They're all trying to kind of come together to build an army that can fight England. You know?
Right.
I'll say this also. Did you guys notice in the beginning? I thought it was going to be one of those movies where it looks like it's one continuous shot.
Oh my god!
There
was
the beginning, really long shot. It was probably a few minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of action in it, a lot of like choreograph
in the very beginning
dialogue. It was very active, and I was like shocked that they did that. And it got me excited. I was like, oh, like the production value looks cheap, but it looks like it's going to be done well. So it got me excited. And I do think that this movie did some things really well.
Yeah.
And
I think I tip my hat to that director because I was looking it up. It doesn't look like he has like a huge backlog, and I think that's a thing for Netflix movies that we're seeing is these lower tier. It's like new directors or they haven't directed much. So like hats off to him for like taking a shot and doing like it was a good long scene, like one long shot. Obviously they take breaks, but that's a hard thing to do.
No, and
and directors are praised for being able to do that. Like what's his face with Gravity and it's just
the
like
guy who did Birdman. That was amazing.
Birdman,
yeah. Only
so
7
it's
cuts
like
or something.
Very impressive. But then he kind of like dropped that shtick, which is fine because I was personally like, does that really fit this movie? Like, does it like I know that style choice did it, and that was my thought. Was like, does this make sense that he's doing this? But then he drops it, so it was cool that he did that in the beginning and then let it go. Mm-hmm. But I got some more to talk about. More spoilery, I guess, that aren't really first reactions. So do we want to do play or keep scrolling?
Play. Yeah.
I'm hesitant on this one. I'm going to start with the keep scrolling, but I feel like my mind might change.
I'm going play too.
Trust me, I really want to press play on one of our movies because I feel like I've only pressed play on one movie this season. But
Joey's just a hater.
I'm not going to just be like, oh, just because I want to watch a movie, I'm going to press play.
Right.
This one might be able to convince me, but my first reactions, I'm going to say I would keep scrolling.
I'm pressing play, especially if you like Timepiece or like Braveheart or like stuff like that. Like it's an interesting story, especially if you don't know the continued story, right? Kind of like I said, like you kind of learn a little bit more about that history that you get kind of involved in with Braveheart. So yeah, I'd hit play for sure. But stick around for the full in-depth review. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back. And we're back. James has gotten comfortable.
Yeah.
Tripod is off. Don't do the thing you did the one time and you were like clicking this, like you were ding ding.
Stop.
Ding.
Well, I mean, you just did it. So
I got to keep editing out James clicking his microphone cable.
I won't touch it. I promise.
Okay. That's what she said. Okay. Now, spoilers. What do you guys actually think about this movie? Can I first say There were so many Game of Thrones characters in this movie.
Oh yeah, no.
It was either Game of Thrones or Marvel. Julie was sitting next to me, and I was like, "Oh, they're from Game of Thrones," and she's watching it now. She's like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh, that's Stannis. He's finally the king."
Stannis the Menace.
And then
Finally
I'm like,
made it.
Then I'm like, "Wow, that's Mormont." I don't know his first name, but the leader of the Night's Watch. He was the original.
Yes.
The dad.
Yeah,
He played the dad in this.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, finally!" And then, as I realized he was gonna die, I was like,
Well,
"I
that's what I'm
can't
wondering.
watch
Do
more
all
Monty again."
Not again.
Obviously, we know that there's actors who are just typecasted. Like, is that a new thing now? Where these people are just like, if you were in Game of Thrones, you will just forever
Be in this like
a
high
historical
fantasy,
time period typecast
Anything
character.
I mean, they know you can do it.
Yeah, that's true. You are on the
You
top
do.
TV show
I mean,
of all
like
time.
honestly, like what's the criteria, right? It's like old
Beard.
guy that has a really awesome beard that can fit in armor
And a slight
You know what I mean?
accent.
Right.
and a slight accent. It can do a slight accent.
Right.
I want to talk about Chris Pine with the gray beard. He still did not look old.
No, he didn't look that old.
Like they tried to age him up with the gray beard, and it did not. Like I was like, I just maybe it's just Chris Pine has a young face. You know what I mean? But like I was just kind of like, I feel like it doesn't fit.
I didn't
That
feel
might
like
be
he
his
fit
beard.
this whole role really.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he was going for almost of like a Thor vibe, kind of.
I
I
think
was getting, and then
Pre Ragnarok, yes.
it just felt like a Wish.com Thor to me.
Wish.com Thor.
Like,
Porn spoofs, Thor.
yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, I was kind of surprised, and maybe this was them trying to be historically accurate, but he kind of had a gut. Chris Pine did.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel
Like,
like,
he
it
wasn't-
is
he
wasn't,
probably
like, ripped.
Like, you
historically
went like Braveheart, like
Yeah.
they make William Wallace. And
Yeah.
it's
Well, I
Mel
feel
Gibson
like-
and he's ripped and he's William Wallace, the fighter.
I still feel though that that's more accurate than like I mean somebody walking around like as this Adonis, you know what I mean? Like because I feel like especially in those times, like you're concerned with like other stuff. You're not working out all the time. You know
Right.
what I mean? You don't look like an.
But that's the thing.
Adonis.
So, okay, this actually now goes into one of my comments because their day-to-day lives are a workout. Like these
Yeah.
people have to
They're
go to
getting paid
war
to
into
do
a
that.
different country
Yeah.
and they walk there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like imagine that. You're not flying
In
you're
armor.
not taking tanks in armor.
Yeah.
Like
Sometimes.
only some people have horses. Like there was a lot of scenes where they're like moving the armies. Like we see this in every timepiece. Like they walk there. Can you imagine walking like from example modern day? If we had to walk to Mexico to go to war, like I would be exhausted and
Yeah.
in the best shape of my life.
And then that war is not like you're laying there with an assault rifle shooting someone. It's like you're
You're
just swinging
fighting.
a sword.
Yeah.
You have to sprint in there, and then you might get cut and die of like an
Immediately.
Well,
infection.
and wait, and before that, you have to spend like weeks like building trenches.
Yeah,
Those trenches don't just come overnight.
yeah, you gotta dig shit.
Like this is a grueling time to live in,
Yeah.
and
I'd rather be dead.
I don't know how
Well, I mean,
everybody's
a lot
not
of
just like
people-
jacked.
Yeah, a lot of people like it was interesting to me in this movie. I feel like they did not pull punches when it came to killing characters. Like they killed people left and right, and
Yeah.
it makes sense because it's realistic.
Well, and
Right.
that goes also with my annoying comment about the pacing is that they kill characters after meeting them only once or maybe twice. Like there was a
Yeah.
lot of characters that just died where I was like, wait, who was that guy again? Why,
Well, yeah,
why
they-
are we caring about him?
They don't
Who's this? Like,
explain. They don't explain a lot, and the big. I want to say like the big character deaths that are supposed to hit home are his brothers, right? And like, you
Yes.
see his brothers. Two of his brothers die. One of them by like torture ish or like set an example. The other one dies in battle, right? But they don't do other than like one or two very like kind of specific scenes where you see a table of like 6 people. And he's like, "You're my brothers. You need to make this decision." And they do kind of a panning shot of each individual person. Like they don't really establish. Like who was the kid with the crown? Was he?
He was just like a
Was he just a
almost
kid?
like a. Yeah,
I
he
thought that was
just
one
like
of
a
his
kid.
brothers too,
No,
or something. And then I was
no.
like, no, it's not. Like there was so many characters
yeah.
that had very like they all kind of had an important moment, but they didn't really build up the relationships there.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that was where I was struggling. I was like, wait, why do we care about this guy who has a crown?
Yeah. The biggest,
Why is this guy allowed to come sit with them versus the other guys who are
Yeah.
walking around and sleeping on the floor? Like there was just so many people that like there was, and then they also just said their names a lot. Douglas, Wallace, George,
Yeah.
like Coleman, like they just said their names as if we were supposed to
Yeah.
like appreciate that. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know this guy.
if I'm gonna be honest, I honestly think this movie would have done better as like an HBO miniseries than like one movie.
sure.
You know?
I mean, the story lends itself to a miniseries for sure. It takes
Mhm.
place over 3 years, a couple battles. You're 100% right. I think Yes, 100%. I have no quarrels with that at all.
Yeah.
I
Like, I feel like you
Yes.
could have established, like, I think that there was, like, what you're, like, a lot of your gripes are at least coming from a point of, like, they literally did not have, like, the runway to tell that amount of story, you know? Because there was a shit ton of stuff happening the entire movie, and they were establishing plot the entire movie, but, like, they kept moving around from, like, place to place to place to place, and they had to, like, tell you where they're going and why they're going there, and then, like, you know.
But Netflix probably doesn't want to face the flack of, like, doing a miniseries of that story,
Yeah.
and then everybody being like, it's just
Weak.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we've
Yeah.
been through this, and it's like, yeah, like, I get
But
that. But
something like this where you have not only historical accuracy on your side of like there's an actual story here where it's dramatic, it's crazy, like it's exciting by just nature of what it is, but you also have the creative freedom that the in between of those battles and in between those things, like nobody really knows what happened, like nobody knows what decisions were made, like you have creative freedom to like do something and like make exciting story and content.
Yeah.
Like these I just think historical pieces like this should be TV shows and miniseries. Movies, if you're going to do it, it needs to be focused on like a singular battle, a singular issue.
right.
Don't try to fill in too much. Don't try to like tell the story of this guy who really nobody knows in history and try to
They
make
could
us
have made an
care in an
Outlaw
hour and a
King.
half, 2 hours. It wasn't that long of a movie.
They could have made an Outlaw King like 1 and 2, and 1 led up to the fight where he
The grand-
loses, where
yeah.
they all get slaughtered in the
Yeah.
night. Like, that could have been the big cliffhanger ending. Like, oh my gosh, and he barely gets away.
Like a red wedding type thing.
Right. And then the second one is everything that
Is him
leads
rebuilding.
up to the
Yeah.
and the rebuild.
Which-
that definitely could have worked. I actually like that a lot better. You're right.
Yeah.
Like, they should have done something like that.
Did they ever let us know or like set the scene of who the guy was? The guy that he was supposed to battle, who then pulled a cheap shot and attacked him in the middle of the
Yeah.
night. Who was like? Was he
He
just?
was the liaison for England in Scotland. So essentially, like in the very beginning of the movie, all the Scottish like lords of the houses basically signed or like pledged themselves to England,
Yeah.
right? And the English king was like, "Okay, I'm going back to England, but this guy is like your guy. Like he's like
the governor.
he's ahead of you, and you listen to whatever he says." But you guys rule your own individual kingdoms. But when he says something, you report to him. You know what I mean?
So
He was like a
I
dude.
must have missed that
Yeah.
because I didn't get. I was like, why? Where did he come from? The son was the one who was kind of like trying to build like importance
Yeah.
and relevance.
Well, the
And-
son was like the
He was a
executioner.
little
You know what I mean? Like,
loser.
yeah,
He
he
was a
was.
little
Yeah, he was a
twerp, yeah.
scumbag.
Fucking dumbass
Which, like,
haircut.
Stupid ass haircut.
Should the loser of our fantasy league have to get that haircut?
Bruh,
Yeah,
I don't
the
think I
loser of
could get
Fantasy
that
League
haircut.
gets that trophy.
Yeah.
Guess who's gonna keep it for another year?
Yeah, after
Joe,
that.
you get mad after the
0.02
.02 loss.
I had some other funny fucking notes in here.
I had a good one. Can I start?
Oh, wait, hold on. My quick one was there was one point where Douglas was talking about the name of his home, and it was Douglasdale. And all I could think of was like Doug
Dimsdale.
Dimmadome.
Dimmadome.
Yeah,
Owner of the Dimsdale
I was
Dimmadome.
like, what the fuck is this? But go ahead, Joe. What was your funny
So
note?
my first one was on the night of their wedding. He comes out right away because they obviously don't consummate their marriage. He's
Yeah.
like a
yeah.
gentleman.
Yeah.
And the one guy says, "Well, that was quick."
That was so funny.
And the wife goes, "You wanted to speak." Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't care what time it's even funnier that this is like in ancient times. A quickie joke just always lands.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Two
It's-
pump chump dope
Two pu-
is always
yeah.
That
funny.
guy looked like Hodor.
You kind of look like Hodor, but what does that have to
What
do
does
with
that have to do with
anything?
anything?
Whoa. No, I'm just saying, like the guy that you're talking about kind of looked like Hodor. It's
Oh,
just
I thought you
weird.
said
Oh,
I
I thought
look
you
like
said-
Hodor.
No, I'm not
That
saying
is
you-
what you said.
No, it's
you
not.
said I kind of look like Hodor.
No, I'm not saying. No, I
You
think
did
that.
say
I said
that.
that guy.
I was like, you
Well,
do
now we
kind of
know
look like
Kevin
Hodor.
thinks you look like
Wow,
Hodor.
rude.
Wait.
Yeah.
My second. Oh, it's on your head now. You're like Mike Pence.
Did I get it?
I
think you might have got it.
Stop.
No, it's up there. Oh man, like Mike Pence.
I think we found a clip for our Instagram.
That's fantastic.
Okay. So
Wait,
go ahead. Go
so I
ahead.
did have my other one that I liked. Boys, when he kicks her out of the room to talk to his brothers, and she's like, "You can say whatever you want in front of me," and he's like, "No, get the fuck out." And then she comes back later, and
Florence Pugh.
yes,
Another
and
big
is
name in it.
she's like, "I'm with you. I support you. Like I'm
Yes.
going in."
Yeah. I know
And my
what you're
first comment was like, "Ah." a supportive woman.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about something, Joe?
Don't
Amanda
show
doesn't
this
watch,
to
so we're
Mandy.
good.
No, yeah, I feel like there were some funny parts. There were some like little nitpicks I had, like when they were fighting in the lake. Remember
That was
when they got
dumb.
to the
That was
lake?
kind of dumb.
And they're like, everybody in the water, and they're all fighting in the water. I'm like,
I
wouldn't
didn't
you
know what
want
that
to
was about.
stand on solid
No,
ground?
they
Yeah.
wanted
and
to
do
get into the
sword
water
fighting?
because it's like there's nothing they can hide behind, and it's like they can make a ring in the water. You know what I mean? So they can fight on
Can't they do that on
semi-even
land?
ground. No, because they're outnumbered. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So it's like, and they also want to be able to retreat to the boats. And it's
Ah.
like if it gets too deep, they can't. They're not obviously going to try to swim out there because if you have people on boats, you can just stab people in the water.
Right.
You know, you're not going to fight.
Yeah, I was kind of lost. This movie was losing me by that scene. I was like, I don't know how we
it
got
started
here. I
to
don't
get
know what.
confusing, man.
It was a lot going
Yeah.
on. I felt like it was just throwing a lot. But
Did you notice? I don't know if you watched this a lot when you were younger. I know we watched it a lot. That Douglas's castle. So when Douglas goes to sack his castle, it's literally the castle from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. When
Really?
remember, I forget who it was, but he goes on that murder rampage and starts killing everybody in the castle.
Is it in the very beginning of the movie?
No, it's
when
like
they're all
close to
dancing?
the end. Literally, there's that castle is in Monty Python, and I'll show you later because I'm almost positive I'm right. And I said that to Julia, and she's like, "I hate you. Like, I hate that movie, and I hate you. We have really big problems."
This
Are
relationship-
you guys both okay? This is changing.
Go cry. You'll have to go over there.
Oh
but
my
yeah, that
God.
was my other note. But other than that, like, I thought it was a good movie.
No, 100%. I definitely think. I thought the combat was interesting. I definitely think the lack of like. I think there was definitely a lack of quality of like maybe props or production. I don't know exactly know what it was. There was a lot of blur. Like it was basically whenever combat was happening, they would like move the camera very quickly. You'd see like big hits. You'd see the horses and stuff. I thought the horses were really cool. Like they did a good job on that. I liked the like guerrilla warfare at the very end. That was really cool. I also like the scene where they're like people start kind of coming to not Dougal. What's his name? Bruce. And they're like, oh, like where's the king? And the king like leans up from like the ditch that he's digging, and he's like, grab a shovel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I feel like this movie started off real. Like usually, the whole timeline of this kind of was weird because the very first scene you have these people surrendering and bending the knee to this king of England who's going to now take over Scotland, and then you have like hope that this guy, like who we didn't really see him fight, we don't know if he's a good fighter, kind of be like, he's going to be the king. He's a self-proclaimed king now. Some people support him. He's got some army. He's going to fight. There was never really a reason for us to hope or believe that he was going to like win this.
No, yeah, there was
obviously it's a movie we like know or expect that like, okay, this is the protagonist. We're following his story. He's going to do something.
Yeah.
It's also history, so like
you know that it's
but
not going to
also
be
not
like
too much. But
yeah, they're not going to like they're not going to plot armor their way through it because it's history, right? Like whatever transpires in the movie has to be like at least it has to be an understandable narrative for what actually transpired and like, you know.
And I feel like if anybody has seen Braveheart, you don't have that expectation going into this movie of like this guy's got plot armor and he's going to win, because if you've already seen Braveheart, you watch the movie and you watch him pretty much lose.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't have that preconceived notion of, like, this guy's going to win.
But he kind of does, though.
I think, though, like...
No, but he does. He definitely does. And, like, that is historically accurate. Like, that is...
Well, he won that one battle.
But that one battle was decisive. Yeah, it was...
No, because...
They never came back and reinvaded.
They said his son, or one of his descendants, 300 years later... Yes. Finally
he becomes the king, but they didn't want to be king of England.
They just wanted Scotland.
His descendant became the king of England,
but England
and Scotland.
Still owns Scotland.
Yeah, but they like didn't.
I know what you're saying.
I don't think that they ever gained independence.
Yeah, but it's not like they came back. It's not like they came back and were like an oppressed people anymore. I don't think. You know, like maybe they were a part of the empire and they collected some kind of taxes. I don't really know. I know that they did a little synopsis at the end, but I don't remember specifically. other than like exactly
I
what
read
happened.
it, and I did this specifically because I knew us, and I knew we were gonna argue about the truths and shit.
And
but
I don't know a lot about
completely
history.
Forget what it was.
So while you're looking that up, can we also talk about how the son, who
Yeah.
is now the new King Edward II,
The dickhead.
the dickhead
Yeah.
son, is completely surrounded by Bruce's army.
Yeah.
No, like, weapons.
Yeah.
They let him walk.
Yeah, they absolutely
Yeah,
let him
that's
walk.
that's
No,
like,
because he one-on-one him. He
but-
1v1'd him, you know?
It-
That was the thing. It was his
He
it was like an
yielded.
honor thing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? He was like, it was basically like, hey, our king versus, because the very beginning they did the thing where it was like it's symbolic.
No, and I
of-
get it.
it's
The
showing the
one-on-one,
difference in the
but-
kings, where he is
Yeah.
a merciful king and he is an honorable.
Yeah, but
king.
now this guy left, and that's when he got crowned King Edward II. Like, don't.
Well, he was still gonna get crowned king because it was his
I
blood,
think-
right? You know.
But that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like, if he killed him, then now we're talking like, okay, now we got some.
Well, yeah,
drama
but then you
going
don't know
on,
who
like-
it is, and maybe they come back.
I
and
just
try to
don't think
avenge
that
him.
that actually happened. I
mean, maybe
wanna
it did,
question
maybe it
that,
did.
like
I
the
have no
historical
I don't
accuracy
know-
that he
yeah, I
let
don't
him
know if-
go was
ahead.
accurate, and I thought that was a weird thing to like include, and it's a weird whether it's true, it's weird that he did that.
I don't
if
think
it's
that
not
happened
true,
that
it's
way.
weird that they added that in.
I think it was like a narrative thing. I definitely don't think it was one of those things that like they had a 1v1 square off behind their line. Like I don't think
And let
that
him
actually,
go.
That
Yeah.
I don't think that happened. I think
Yeah.
it was just like the battle happened, they retreated, neither king died. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
was like because the other king retreated, he was obviously disgraced. And like they used that one-on-one duel as kind of like a plot device to show like not only did like the Scots win, but like the kings fought 1v1 like they were trying to do at the beginning of the movie, and this king won, like handedly won, you know?
So I'm just reading through here. This is Robert the Bruce's page, and Edward the First was still alive during the Battle at Loudon Hill.
The older one.
Yeah. And then Bruce defeated them with the guerrilla warfare, and then continued to destroy their strongholds and devastated their lands. This fucking fly. What the fuck?
Get him, Hunter.
He's all over me. And then there were, I guess, like a few more battles. Robert defeated a much larger English army under Edward II, confirming the reestablishment of an independent Scottish kingdom. The battle marked a significant turning point, with Robert's armies now free to launch devastating raids throughout northern England, while also extending his war against the English to Ireland by sending an army to invade there, and by appealing to the Irish to rise against Edward II's rule. So it looks like there were points where Scottish kind of had their freedom, but now they're still part of England. But like back then, they were fighting for their freedom, and it looked like he kind of helped with that. So, but yeah, it seemed like obviously it's stylized. It's always stylized, but it seems like they stuck true. to
Yeah.
the story.
It was they told the narrative of like obviously, the real conquest and war is like much longer and there's a lot more that happens, but like in a somewhat succinct storyline, they were able to kind of drive home the same point. We have one really fucking persistent fly.
There's
Two.
two. Okay,
in
let's
this
take a
room.
pause for a quick.
This is like that episode of Breaking Bad, the fly. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Yep. So fly work continues. Now armed ourselves, so don't worry about us. We're prepared.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
Oh, that
Are we
was
the same
weird.
person?
That was pretty cool. Did you guys catch the King Arthur? Maybe a King Arthur reference?
What do you mean?
There were like two little kids, and Robert does something good for them or something like that. And the one little kid says to the other, he's like, "Come on, Arthur, let's go." And I was like, I feel like that's too like
on the
nose
nose. Yeah.
to not be a reference to King Arthur. But
Maybe
I don't
it's like
know
a
at what
nod.
point
Is
King
King
Arthur took place.
Is that real? I thought King Arthur was like all the
No,
narrative.
King Arthur's real.
Is it?
Yeah, and the Holy Grail.
No. I'm thinking like the actual was that like a historical person?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And the Knights of the Round Table.
I mean, I think
Sounds real.
Yeah,
But-
I'm
All
almost positive it's real. We'll look it up.
yeah.
I might sound
Let us
really
know if
dumb
this
to
is
our
real.
No,
17
it might be
viewers.
one of those things that it's like that was like a real person and there was a Knights of the Round Table, but like a lot of like the lore is like,
well, I
this,
think
like,
there's a lot of
fanciful-
fantasy around
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
I think he was a real person.
Yeah, like
And
there
the
is a
knights-
real
and
historical
those knights
figure.
like Sir Robin and Sir Galahad, like they're all
Mhm.
real knights of the Round Table. So
Dude,
I
these
think
You
are
know
such
what I'm
cool
realizing
ass
too
names.
while we talk about this?
Huh.
I never really cared about any of this like as a kid, like this time period.
Mm-hmm.
You guys clearly watched a lot more of it, and I think that's why you have like
We watched
We watched
predisposition.
Monty Python
Yeah.
and the Holy Grail,
Yeah.
which is not it's it's
It's
the
hilarious.
No, I
dumbest
know
fucking comedy.
Yeah, I never cared. Like, I know I've heard it's so funny, it's
Yeah.
so stupid, so ridiculous, whatever. Never cared to watch it. Like,
Should we
there's
do this now? Our bonus episode is us sitting down
And
watching
watching
it together,
together.
and then we can talk about it during
It's fucking
the movie.
hilarious.
Sure.
We'll do like a Mystery Science Theater.
But I think maybe that's why I wasn't so. I think this genre just doesn't appeal to me
yeah.
as much.
I'll be honest, like I'm not a huge fantasy guy. I was never into Lord of the Rings. I know I'm a huge D&D nerd. Like huge fucking D&D nerd.
Explain yourself
Yeah,
to the
Yeah,
I'm a huge.
yeah.
No, everybody looks at me fucking weird when I'm like, I don't love fantasy. I never did. Like growing up, I was much more of like a sci-fi. Like I like Star Wars and stuff like that. Never got into Lord of the Rings. You know, it was never my thing.
Interesting.
You know. But
Bonus
then it was.
episode we watched like the 15-hour
All Lord of the
director's
Rings.
cut, like all through.
I've watched Lord of the Rings, and I don't not like them. Like I do because I think the stories are very good and the characters are written
Yeah.
very well. It's definitely a little convoluted. I think it's probably a better book than a better movie. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I think the books are like crazy long.
are they? Maybe it's just because maybe they just expand more. I just feel like they try to do it. Maybe I have to watch them again.
Your
But-
computer.
There's a lot that goes on in the movies and a lot of characters that are established. So I don't know. I'm sure that they're like the movies are fantastic too. So, but yeah, no, not a huge fantasy guy to bring it back around. At least when it comes to like the actual movie medium.
Yeah.
Of, you know.
I
Well,
get
this
that.
also
I'm
isn't
the
really
same way
fantasy,
with-
though.
What?
No, it's not.
This
it's
isn't really
historical.
fantasy. This is
I mean, it's historic. It's medieval. Yeah, I mean, it's the same
medieval.
thing. Like, I don't really like Game of Thrones is like the
Meanwhile,
other.
you're the guy who's texting a group every weekend to go to the Ren Fair.
I
Yeah,
want to go to the
that's
fucking
so
Ren Fair.
true.
Dude.
That's
I want to
so
go to the
true.
Ren Fair. I've never been to the Ren Fair before. I
Wait.
want to go watch
That's what I'm saying.
jousting.
I've never been. Have no desire to go.
No.
Why?
Have you ever been to medieval times though?
No.
No.
Isn't
I
it the
went
same
to-
thing?
No. It was like this like dumb restaurant show kind
Oh,
of
right,
thing.
yeah.
And you'd go. I went when I was younger, and it was fun when I was younger. I'm sure it would be fun now that we can all drink. Did I
What
get
the
it? Dude, it was on your head. I thought I would. It's on the glass. It's on the glass. Don't break. Don't spill that wine.
I got it. I gotta get him. Get that
Spill
motherfucker.
spill that wine.
Ha!
You got it.
He's trapped. Die!
drown
Die in the wine! Die!
It's animal cruelty.
Yeah, we got him. We got him, guys.
Now drink it.
This is like Obama saying when we got
What?
Bin Laden.
Uh,
We got him,
we
boys.
got-
We got him.
James is like, how's this gonna get political?
I was like, why are we
Like,
talking about Obama
responsibly.
when we're killing a fly in wine?
Don't you know that was his favorite pastime?
It's like, yeah,
Can we move this off camera?
Yeah, give me that. Yeah, just put it over there, dude.
Put it on the computer.
Yeah, it's dead. Don't spill it.
I don't know. These flies are
It's not getting back out of there. If it does, it deserves to live.
It's
It deserves
It's
to live.
trying.
It's not getting back out of there, dude.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
That's a
so-
heavy ass rock. It's not.
Dude, that's not going
If
anywhere.
it does, that's not a fly.
All right.
You
So
don't
I
know
had
what
a
I've seen
couple.
this last 24 hours.
I had a couple more like gripes, I guess you could say. My first gripe is she totally could have squeezed through those holes in her cage.
1,000%.
Yeah, 100%. She's they're like 3 feet apart. She's like,
But-
no.
so
It
I-
felt like a high school like play, and you have to make like obviously it's not a real cage.
You're talking about
but
when she was like dangled off the side of the
yes,
thing.
yeah.
I
Oh,
thought
mean,
about
she can't
that.
obviously get out because she's being dead. Like she's like
She could
probably
totally
a
get
couple-
She's
out
probably dangling
and climb
over
up that
the-
rope.
No, I
There's
think if
no
some.
fucking way she could do
Wouldn't
that.
you try?
Can you ever climb?
But climb up
When's
to
the last time
what,
you climbed up a
though?
fucking rope, Kevin?
like middle school?
Okay.
Here's
So-
the thing. I don't think yes, like James said, like she's probably dangling over rocks, ocean, like
Yeah, there's
fall to her
like
death. And if she climbs up, like there's probably a guard somewhere in that proximity.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you gonna
One
get?
guy's just standing there waiting. Hey,
It's like you guys like
Hey, you get back down there.
It's like our fly, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
Like,
that's
if
true.
he gets out, does the guard let him go? No, I'm gonna still kill this fly because I don't
I
want him in my
literally-
house.
All right, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. But she
It was
totally
that was a
could've-
very weird way to hold a prisoner. I will say that. You're
It's like
like,
torture.
is it? You just like hang him over the side
Yeah,
of the
it's,
thing?
I
That's how
think
they-
that's probably like a real thing. It's kind of like when
They
they
don't
put
kill him,
Tyrion.
though,
It's
right?
kind of like when they put Tyrion when he was in
In like the moon door place?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
and his cage was just like an open door.
An
Yeah.
open door because like if you go out, sure,
Right,
you just
you're
fall to
dead.
your
Yeah,
death.
yeah, it's similar.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my other major nitpick. And I said to Julia, my exact words were, how the fuck does this happen in a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There was a point where Robert, I think, is talking to this little girl, like this little farm girl.
Yes.
She literally has an American accent. Like not even trying to do a Scottish accent. It's literally a little American girl just speaking like
She's just foreign, Kevin.
like no, literally it was just an American accent. And I was like, how the fuck did they not just hire a little Scottish girl to be the actress here?
because it was shot in like Wyoming.
That's fair. That's fair. But there's no
I have no
way-
idea where it was
that's
shot.
true.
Yeah, it's probably
There's
not
no
true.
way that they can't get like at least a girl who can do a Scottish accent or find a there's Scottish people who live in America.
What?
Yeah,
When
100%.
exactly are you talking about? Because I don't remember this.
I'll have to find the scene.
No,
and
you're
I'm
talking
sure
about
I
when
can
like they're
find it.
actually it was the very end, right? Where they're making like where they're basically like
I
asking
think it's
permission
when
she's like giving him the shovel and she's like, you got to bring it back. You know
yes,
what I mean?
yes, she says, Mom says you have to bring it back, and he's like, all right, get the fuck out of here.
I don't think that's what he said.
He was like, yeah, I'll definitely get this back. I got a fucking war to fight.
Good luck tomorrow, kid.
It's either you give me that sword or I will literally kill you. Or I'll just wait for the fucking dysentery to set in. That happens a bunch back then. But yeah, she literally has, and I'll find it while you guys are talking about the rest.
Yeah. So there was a scene I did want to talk about. Are you literally gonna pull up a YouTube video?
I'm literally gonna pull it up. I do it
Okay.
in the.
Um,
We didn't
I
even
was gonna
talk
say,
about it.
Kim
We got
does-
some. I remember when I hunted for those titties.
Oh
in Cherry.
my god.
There were titties in this too.
There were
Yes.
some titties. There was a penis scene
Florence
too.
Pugh titties and Chris Pine hung dong. Julia made me
when?
rewind. Yeah,
Julia
yeah.
Major. The one-
I was like,
Wait,
Chris
it's just
Pine.
out
I was like,
Julia.
Chris Pine is hanging dong, and
Yeah.
she's like, what?
Rewind.
I did not see that part.
He was like
bathing in
the
like
river.
the lake or something.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I
He
just
hangs
didn't-
like full
You don't
on
see
dong.
anything. It's all like.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
blurred.
just got to him hanging dong. Just by accident. It was bookmarked.
Kevin's got dong dong.
I lost it.
So there's a point in this movie where I was like legitimately cringing. I was like, because I don't get squeamish when it comes to gore, but I don't love obscene like more than like a tasteful amount of gore. You know what I mean?
Like being drawn in quarters.
Yeah, like being drawn and quartered. Like they legitimately just showed that entire sequence where he basically like the guy was like, I don't know where my brother is, and he's like, yeah, and then he like hung
Puts a
him.
noose on him and
Yeah, he
stabs
puts the
him through
noose
the
on him,
heart,
and then he
slices
like
him in two.
he stabs him in the chest and like disembowels him, and it was like, and they didn't like cut away and like look at like shocked faces. They showed the guy disembowel him, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
That was.
They went for the shock
surprisingly
factor.
Brutal, yeah.
Imagine that your life though, just like you don't like. You say like, okay, wife, take child, go to City, like
To survive.
I'll meet you there.
Then, he's just
Then
like,
they
I'll
leave,
get there.
but they leave because they get caught or captured or whatever.
Yeah.
They end up somewhere else. How the fuck do you ever find
You don't.
them again?
You
Yeah,
don't
he's like,
ever.
I'll find you in London. They were going
In
to
London.
London.
No fucking
As if-
shot.
Do you got a cell phone, Robert? No fucking
I've got a
way.
camera.
We
Carrier
have
pigeon.
modern technology
Would
today, and I would still be like, sorry, I don't have an international plane. I can't find you.
Yeah, you're like,
But that brings me
gotta
to
get a
my
new kid and a
last
new
point.
wife.
That beach scene, super cheesy and so unreal. Oh,
I did.
We'll release her on the beach and then we'll run.
Well, yeah, that was
kiss
just-
each other on the beach.
that was
Yeah.
just supposed to
I
be
was like,
cinematic.
gag.
Gag.
That
Julie's
was-
like, this is so cute. I'm like, gag.
It was literally just supposed to be cinematic, as they can put that like plot text on the
Right.
screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, like Robert De Bruce's children, like children's children. One of them became king. Isn't that sick?
But then,
But then they still lost the war and everything that happened.
And you don't know where his daughter is. They're just like, hey,
No,
we
they
really
find the
made
daughter.
you emotionally invested.
no.
in his daughter.
They said the family was
But,
reunited.
yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
do.
But
They
then
don't
they-
show her again, but they do. She says, "Where's Marjorie?" And he
She's
says,
waiting for you.
She's waiting for you
Oh.
back at home or something like that.
But then they get you like emotionally invested in her dog, and then like,
Yeah, bro.
that
Somebody
thing-
definitely ate that dog.
dude, that dog did not fare well. I
no,
promise
no
you
shot.
that.
You see
Like,
the dog once more, and it
he's
is
like,
not in
"You'll
a good
see-
situation.
They'll take good care of it.
No shot.
That
no.
dog
The Englishman
went
took
up
the
to
dog.
upstate New York on a nice, beautiful farm. and
Rip.
got
That was a cute dog.
Is
Yeah,
that
it's
an
a little
Irish?
grimy.
It was a big cute
Irish
doggo.
water dog.
Yeah,
maybe.
It was a big cute doggo.
Show your face to the cat right now.
He says
I
something
think it
confidently.
is.
I
Because
didn't
I was
like-
looking at Irish water dogs. I would love one. I thought I saw one in Maine.
You're gonna get a dog?
I want a dog, but
Right
I want a
now?
dog.
it's just like a lot of work.
It is a lot
It's a lot
of
of
work.
commitment.
You
couldn't
also
do this
can't
tonight.
travel
It's a
anymore.
huge commitment. I definitely couldn't have done this tonight.
Yeah.
No, you got to plan around the
Flix
dog.
fellas forever.
That's why I won't.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when we were living together in Philly. We always passed that
Until I
dog
have a
shelter, and I
kid,
was like,
Yeah.
I want that dog, but I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not taking care
Yeah.
of it.
Until I have a
100%.
kid, which is like a reasonable excuse to like
No,
miss out on
exactly.
plans and like do
100%.
things.
Yeah, then you get a
It's-
dog.
Yeah, then you got the dog.
Because you're
Or
already
like getting
cemented.
ready to have
Yeah.
a kid, like you know it's coming, so you're
Yeah.
like, I might as well start the
Yeah.
end of my life now. And
The
get a
end of my
cool
life
dog.
now.
Yeah, fucking
Kevin's so
A.
excited for like the next 10 years of his
Oh
life.
Christ Almighty!
Honestly, I can't fucking wait. I'm so
be a
excited
dad?
just be and just be like, sorry, can't make it tonight.
Hanging out with
Sorry,
my
no
kids.
plans.
We're gonna be the dads where we're like doing this, and I got like my kid right here.
Oh, yeah.
You got your kid. and we're just
No,
like,
my
"Shut
kid's
up,
gonna be
I'm
bringing me
trying
a
to do
beer."
something." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My kid's gonna be drinking a beer.
I'm gonna be a horrible father.
I'm gonna be terrible.
Oh my
Oh man, but we're
Okay.
straying off. I think that
I'm
pretty
good
much
with-
covers it for me.
No,
I don't
yeah,
know if
I'm
you guys
good.
Have any final words?
No.
No. Should we guess? Do we want to do
Let's guess the middle
double
score.
down, or do you want to?
Let's do
the
double
middle?
do
down
this-
first.
Oh, I was gonna say the score first.
Let's do the
All right.
score first. Let's
Well,
do the
I've been
score
outvoted.
first. Yeah, eat shit.
This
James.
is democracy now.
Fuck.
All right, Outlaw King. James, I'll let you guess. Right?
I also have. Can I say one more gripe real quick before we get thing?
yes.
Why the fuck is it called Outlaw King?
Because he's
He's
an
the
outlaw.
outlaw.
Yeah, but I
and
feel like
he's
King
the
of the Outlaws.
There's so many other names you could have.
No, I
chosen.
actually
No,
thought
that was a good name.
I
You could like the
liked it.
Fallen King.
And I liked how they
you could have
stylized
done.
it with the slash because he's an outlaw.
Yeah, but there's like I feel like there's so many. You can say that about so many other characters in media, and like that, like by the same logic.
No,
also
fuck
be
you.
true.
That's like being like, why'd they call it Iron Man? Because
No.
he's Iron Man.
no, yeah, but what I'm saying is,
Why
is
was it
like,
called Beckett? Because the main character's name was Beckett.
Beckett.
No, I
we
hear
also
what
had
you're
an
sa-
issue with the name
I
of
did
that
like-
movie.
Yeah, it
I
was a
didn't-
dumb name.
I don't hate that, but for that one it was
Did have
bad.
the issue.
Well, it's just a bad
Because
Yeah.
there's nothing else you can name it.
Yeah.
But literally,
No, I just feel like you can call him like there's a lot of you have a lot of ammunition in this movie to make a better not that I don't like Outlaw King, like I think that's a cool name, but I think that there's a more appropriate, equally cool name that you could have named this movie.
what?
Outlaw man tries to become
No, like
king.
the rising, like Fallen King or something like that, like something that like
What's
what?
different?
What
What's
the
better
fuck is
about
the
that?
difference? Yeah,
I don't
why is
know.
it
He's never
better?
fallen,
Because
though.
And he
no, he
wasn't the king,
does
so
because
he
he was
couldn't have
given
been
or
fallen.
like something like there's something else like there's enough content in the movie where like him being an outlaw like that's not the most important point of his character. You know what I mean?
I think
That
it
is.
is.
I don't think it is.
The whole thing is a rebellion.
Yeah, but
He's
like-
an outlaw.
Yeah, but like
He
I
literally kills
whatever.
a guy.
I don't think I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a religious holy war.
I just
Yeah,
think that
like-
you have other ammunition, and Outlaw King is not the best name.
I think you're
disagree.
outlawed on this one.
Yeah.
I'm outlawed
You're
on this.
outlawed,
one.
yeah.
This was.
All right,
an
let's get to the
inappropriate
fucking
name.
meta score.
Metascore. James, you're first.
Ooh, Metascore. 62.
Okay.
Oh, see, I was gonna say 56, but I feel like that's too close.
Don't fucking Price is Right me, dude.
No, I was gonna say that's too. I was gonna say it's too close. So I was gonna say maybe say like a
Okay.
52, but I'll say no. I'm gonna stick with mine. I'm gonna say 56.
Nice.
59.
Ooh, wait, we're
No.
even.
But I'm lower, so I win.
Yeah, technically, if you
Every
you
time.
Price is
know-
Right
This happens to me every
rules.
time. I'm
Shit.
lower than it is,
Yeah.
but not the closest. necessarily.
Yeah,
Shit.
59. That's about right.
That's
you guys
fair.
were right.
Wait,
in
you
the
said
realm. I
52?
think that's a fair.
I said 56, but you
Okay.
said 62. I think something like that.
I
So
said
was like,
62, so we're exactly 3 apart, but
Yeah.
you're under, so you win.
But
Yeah.
then again, like I'm on the side of like
I thought it was
this is just
better.
a fun game. I don't like movie reviews. Like I'm on that side of like.
bruh.
What the fuck are you talking about? This is our
movie
podcast.
review
Like, I'm sorry, like numerical reviews.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't- I think
Like
they're
the
too
quantitative
generic.
thing is
Yeah,
taken
it's
with
kinda
a grain of
like,
salt. 5 stars
like
or-
arbitrary. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I think that's a fun game. That we
Yes,
played. I'm
agreed.
trying to
Yeah,
guess what
agreed.
it would be.
I
But
think
yeah,
that's
good job.
fair.
You guys were both pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
listen,
much in that round.
Joey beat me by a hair here. I beat him by a hair in fantasy, and we're all happy.
Wow.
Joey's like, too soon.
0.02.
Too soon.
0.02. But great job, guys. Now let's double down. We had 2 plays and a scroll.
Let's go to
Who
Joey
is
last.
thinking about? Let's do Joey last. I'm doubling down. I think this was a decent movie, and I would watch it again. And I would say you should watch it if you like historical action.
Yeah, I would say I'm also doubling down. I would definitely watch this movie again, in addition to like fully justifying the first time watch. Like the first time watch, it was a super fun ride, and I found myself like, I'll try to do the thing a lot where I'll be watching a movie and I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll look at my phone or whatever. And I was like, I like specifically do not want to watch my phone because I'm engaged with the story. So quality movie, recommend. Joseph.
He's doubling down on his.
Yeah,
too.
he's gonna double down.
I'm gonna double down because I don't think you guys didn't really talk much in our discussions about why you liked this movie. We all agreed that there was a lot of things wrong with it.
Yeah, but there was still like a lot of quality plot there, and like when it comes to the actual storytelling of the movie, I was very interested all the way through. Like compared to Sweet Girl, like there
I got
was
so fucking bored.
Yeah, I was like they pulled me in at the beginning with like the killing of the other lord, and then I just stayed. You know,
I'll
that
say
one was
this.
shorter and felt longer.
Yeah,
I'm 100% biased because I'm genuinely
history?
I like modern.
Mhm.
yeah. You
and
don't like the
new,
medieval.
flashy
That's fine.
stuff. Medieval is not exciting to me. I love Game of Thrones. I love
But that's a slow burn.
there-
That's a series.
Yes,
you know?
there are timepieces that I do enjoy. This just wasn't the one, and it didn't keep my attention. I had to stop at one point because I was like, I just would rather not watch this right
Yeah.
now.
That's fair. I
So-
think that's good info for the viewers if they don't like
If you're not a
historical
medieval
dramas or,
person,
like
yeah,
action
don't
and stuff
give
like
us-
that. Don't watch it.
That
Yeah.
is probably the most respectful I've ever heard Kevin disagree with someone in my
That
entire
really
life.
is. I know. I really
Yeah,
was like,
yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Kevin's like, I appreciate your
I'm just a
opinion.
little upset that I
I
didn't
can't hide
convince-
behind my computer screen anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
now I'm stuck.
Yeah,
I
you can't just
thought-
like
Beat
shit
my
talk.
ass. Yeah.
You're not a keyboard warrior anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I really thought I was going to convince one of you. I thought I was going to convince Kevin because you were strong that you liked it.
Yeah.
I thought that I might convince you not
I was
to.
No, I
Passionate.
love Braveheart, so I enjoyed this story.
I think I've only seen Braveheart once, and
They can take our land,
It's good.
but they can never take our freedom.
It's a
He
great war
says they
movie.
can take our land at some point, and I was like, don't do it. And
No,
then
No,
they
I-
didn't
yeah,
do
I was
it,
worried
and
he was
like,
gonna do
don't
it.
Even,
do
like, so Chris Pine's like
Speech.
going into war speech, like
sucked.
it sucked.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
It did.
He basically explained why he
He's like,
doesn't
"We
need to have a
might die."
speech.
We
He-
might die.
He looked like he was like, "Fuck!" Like this guy's giving a speech now. I got to give a speech.
Yeah,
He's like, I didn't prepare.
Look,
It's-
God,
yeah.
sure,
He's like,
you're
wait, I'm
like-
supposed to do
No,
that?
it's
Yeah.
it's the it's like the Bachelor, like it's the not the Bachelor, the who's the best man at a wedding after
yeah.
he walks up right after like the bridesmaid finished like delivering this absolutely like killer speech, you know what I mean? And he's like, man, I wrote like a paragraph
how-
on the bus ride here.
Yeah, yeah. How about that?
Right up here.
Right up, yeah.
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 That is
Okay.
true. All
Let's
right,
wrap
well,
this up.
James, hit him with the spiel.
Right. If you like this video, please let us know in those comments down below. If you want to see us, again, this is the first time we were all sat together. If you want to see more things like this, we can try to do it more.
Pay us.
Pay us.
Yeah. Pay us on Patreon.
Yeah, we do have a Patreon.
Or Joe's OnlyFans.
You might recognize this setup here.
Yeah.
Kevin also sticks around. All right, so
Kevin sticks to a lot of
please, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel if you're watching us on YouTube. Leave a like, leave a comment, let us know what movies you want us to watch. Go follow us on Instagram, Flix_fellas. We're very active on there. We will respond to you. I respond to it all the time, even though I'm awful at social media. In addition, you can go check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or really anywhere that you get your podcast content. If you're watching us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. It helps us a lot and helps promote our podcast, especially on that platform. So we really appreciate you guys spending the time and watching to the very end, and excited to
see
see
you
you
next
next time.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.